Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Dish It with Des. I am Desiree, your podcast host. I am doing a solo podcast tonight. My hubby is at work, so he will not be joining me for tonight's podcast on the latest Vanderpump Rules episode called By Invitation Only. All right, so we start out and we see the Toms at Schwartz and Sandy's. And is it just me, or do they seem clueless all of the time? They're talking to their general manager and trying to finalize things for the restaurant. And their GM is telling the Toms that he needs prices on the drink menu. He needs to know what drinkware things are going in. And I can understand having a little bit of a drawback with the food because it's not like either of them are chefs. But Sandoval is always bragging about his bartending skills. So, he's been a bartender for a really long time. So you would think that the drink menu would be an easy thing to complete. And they just keep saying that they have so much stuff to do, but it feels like they're always just standing around and not getting anything done. Then we see Schwartz inviting Katie to this tasting that they're going to have at the restaurant for the food because their partner Greg wanted more of an upscale menu. And the food looks good. It definitely looks like the menu has been elevated a little bit more. But I do find it weird that Schwartz wanted to invite Katie. She wanted to give all this input in the restaurant, and the Toms didn't really want her input when they were married. And now that they're getting divorced, he's like, well, I want to make her feel included and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why? I don't know. I understand that they're trying to stay friends because they all are going to be around each other, but it's just weird. And I think it's enough of Tom and Katie trying so hard to maintain a friendship. Eventually, both of them are probably going to end up in relationships with other people. And I feel like the friendship that they have now is not going to be that when they get into a relationship with somebody else. I think it's time to start cutting the ties there. A few of the girls want to invite Allie to dinner. So Lala, Ariana, and Scheana, they want to take her out to dinner and make her feel included because they feel like she's a nice girl and I guess they want to get to know her. So Ariana makes a comment, and this was cringeworthy, that Allie is so sweet and she wants to start including her in things. And she said that she made sure she let Raquel know that they were going to dinner with Allie. Ugh, guys, it's like Ariana's always doing the right thing, and look at what Raquel did to her. She let Raquel know that they wanted to go to dinner with Allie out of courtesy. It's just hard to watch. This conversation going on at dinner, they're kind of recapping this pool party that Ariana had, and Lala says that Raquel was being so mean, at this pool party and whatever. And Sheena's kind of sticking up for her and saying that she's just trying to stand up for herself. And Lala is clearly just mad because Raquel referred to her as a mistress and a bimbo. I don't know why this irritates Lala so much because she was a mistress. So, I don't get it. If you're going to do that type of thing, then you're going to have to deal with how people think of you because of the things that you've done. And I don't understand why she can always be so judgy to everybody else and have so much to say about everybody else. But the moment somebody says something about her, it's not okay. And then Ariana brings up that Lisa wants to have a tea at her house. And I was already onto this because I'm like, I knew Sheena's bridal shower was at Lisa Vanderpump's house. So as soon as Ariana mentions this, I'm like, this is Sheena's shower. So then we cut to lunch with Lala, Scheana, and Brock. And they're talking about the wedding because it's very soon. We actually get there towards the end of the episode. And Lala is saying how she's not really looking forward to having to be around Raquel, and that if she's going to bridesmaid events, she's going to be in close quarters with her. And she said she'd be completely fine in larger groups. But then we see this moment between Brock and Lala. Last year, Brock was new to the show. He has a little bit of a past, a little bit of a history, And Lala was really dragging him for that. I mean, she was bringing things up about Brock to Scheana, it felt like constantly. So it was interesting to see this moment between Brock and Lala at lunch because obviously she's really gotten to know him and their relationship has come a long way. And he was actually thanking her for putting pressure on him as a father and holding him accountable. And I really respect that because he said that makes him a better person that she did that. So it was really interesting to see their relationship and how it's grown. And she's admitted that she's had a change of heart about him. And I like him. I mean, I liked him last season too, even though he had a little bit of a history. It was just nice to see Scheana happy. So I felt like he seemed like he was good for her, and they truly do seem happy. So in that moment, it was nice to see the relationship between him and Lala now. And then, of course, we are at the beautiful Villa Rosa. I always love a moment where we get to see Lisa Vanderpump's house. It is gorgeous. So everybody is showing up, and I'm noticing that it's guys and girls. And this is definitely the bridal shower. And James in his confessionals, he's kind of getting a little bit irritated that Allie is allowed to go to Mexico for the wedding. It's just that, like, when Scheana sent out her invitations, I guess, and doing like the seating arrangement, she didn't really know Allie. So she was telling James, like, she's more than welcome to come to all the other activities. And James thinks that Scheana just doesn't want Allie at the wedding because of Raquel. And then we see him ask Lala if he should ask Allie to marry him in Mexico. Now, I love James's enthusiasm, but I like Allie. She seems like a nice girl, although so did Raquel. So let's give her a moment to get to know her. But I feel like he jumps the gun. Like, he definitely seems like he's a hopeless romantic, and I like that about him. But we do not need him proposing to Allie. Lala looked like she was ready to smack him when he said that. And then we have this awkward moment, which in a normal scenario would never seem awkward. But of course, knowing what we know, James and Sandoval playing ping pong. Now, you got to remember, guys, these two were always really close friends. When everybody hated James, Sandoval was always the one sticking up for him, always in his corner. So to see them playing ping pong normally would be just fine. But with Scandival, I can't help but look at things a little bit differently now. And then to the side, kind of behind the ping pong table on some lounge chairs, you see Raquel and Schwartz chatting. They are definitely being flirty. It's a very cozy moment. It looks like they're not like hugging or anything, but the conversation is definitely cozy. And she says one thing that was so weird because she's like, she's happy that him and her are tight now. And she said maybe in the future they'll be even tighter. Guys, now if Scandival truly did start after Vegas, you figure that has happened already. So to see, and we know coming up soon, there's going to be a moment where her and Schwartz kiss at Sheena's wedding. And we just know that this was deflection now. And normally I would have loved this moment because I kind of really liked Raquel and Schwartz potentially being a thing. And then you could see Sandoval and James in the background playing ping pong. And like James just looks so irritated. He's definitely mad that she's flirting with Schwartz in the background there. And James is drinking again. He was sober for years. He's drinking again, and he's starting to get a little bit rowdy at this party. And we see Lisa and Lala like trying to get him to calm down, trying to get him to chill. But I notice he's talking crap on Brock a little bit. And that's not really cool since he's at the shower for Scheana and Brock. So it was weird to see him, throwing Brock under the bus a bit. And, Lala saying she's worried about him drinking. And I don't know how I feel about James drinking yet. I'll have to just wait and see. Sandoval wants everybody to come to Schwartz and Sandy's after this shower to hang out. Now, the restaurant is not open still. And this is so weird. Like, if they can have a group of people there and have the ability to have bartenders being paid to help out and all, like, they just need to open at this point. But an awkward moment happened. Raquel says hi to Lala. Lala did say, like, hello back, but it was obvious that she wasn't really into hanging out with her. And then you see James chatting to Scheana and Brock. So he's bringing up Allie again and asking if she can come to the wedding. And I do like to see him advocating for her so much because that would kind of suck, like to go to Mexico for Sheena's wedding and like you can hang out for all this stuff, but then you just have to like sit back in the room or at the pool or something while like the wedding's going on and your boyfriend's there. So he brings up something, and I thought this was interesting. When he got engaged to Raquel, he had like an engagement party at a really nice place. And Scheana and Brock got engaged like secretly right before they came or something. And they were thinking that they were just going to elope at this really gorgeous venue slash hotel that Raquel and James were having an engagement party at. So he brings this up. Now, obviously, that didn't happen, but he brings it up and he kind of holds that over their head as leverage to get them to give the okay for Allie to come. And he does make a point. Like, Scheana and Allie have hung out a bit, and Scheana really likes her. So they say yes. Like, Brock was like, if we can make this work, we should make it work. And they say yes. So Allie does get to go to the wedding. So good news for James. And you see Tom Schwartz and Raquel hanging out. And he brings up how she was being made fun of for her little galaxy projector. And then he like giggles and says that he has one too. And this is like a moment where I start to feel so disappointed because I was actually into this Raquel and Schwartz couple possibility and seeing them interacting and everything. Like, I really like that dynamic that they have. So it's so disappointing that she went the total opposite way. Let's get into the good stuff because we know some good things are coming our way when the cast arrives in Mexico. First thing I noticed right off the bat, they're all like in the lobby area, like waiting for everyone to get there. And Katie's awkwardly standing there because she's not going to the wedding, but still wanted to go to Mexico. So there she is, just standing there awkwardly. And she's like talking to Lala, and Lala's looking at their rooms, I guess. And she's like, ugh, Katie's nowhere near me. And then Scheana says in her confessional that she called the resort and had Katie moved to an area that is like nowhere near anybody else. She had her moved to a whole other part of the resort. So petty, but honestly, like I can't disagree with her doing that because she was saying how she was worried that they were going to be like standing on their balcony and watching the wedding and judging everything because of the history with her and Christina Kelly and Stassi judging her wedding in the past. And I just think it's so funny that she called the resort and had her move to another part because, like, that's totally something I would do. And then we see Sandoval being affectionate to Ariana. It's really hard to watch when they are being affectionate to each other now. Like, normally I would have loved this, but I didn't love it. And Ariana, you know, says that she's looking forward to having this alone time and time with Sandoval that she doesn't usually get. And that was also hard to see her say in her confessional because I just can't help but think about the fact that at this moment where they're in Mexico, like Raquel and Sandoval had already started their little thing. And then you can see Raquel and Schwartz in their rooms, and they each separate rooms, but they each have their little galaxy lights on. So that's funny to me because they had just stated before that Tom has a galaxy light too. And then an awkward moment happens. You see everyone getting to dinner. This is like the welcome dinner to the wedding festivities. And Christina Kelly shows up to the dinner with Lala and like asks if she can sit down. It's so weird. First of all, Scheana and Christina Kelly are not friends at all. And Katie and Scheana aren't even really friends at this point. And she didn't even want Katie there. And Katie's not at this dinner. So why is Christina Kelly with Lala at this dinner? Like, it's so weird because she doesn't even like Scheana. So why would you want to go? It's just so awkward. This is a to be continued episode, right? And we know when an episode is to be continued, it's because it's ending at a peak. So they want to pick up on the next episode at the peak. And this is like the thing I'm having a hard time with. This end scene that we're about to get into, it gets a little bit explosive. Normally, this would be the drama that we're like, yes, you know, finally, it's like something's happening, but this doesn't even seem like anything compared to what we know is coming. So that's why I just keep saying that this scandal coming out before the season is actually wrapping and we all know about it already. And let me know if you guys agree with this and how you're feeling about this, because I feel like all these other moments that normally would feel like dramatic big moments, they don't seem like much of anything right now. So at this dinner, things get a bit heated between James and Ariana, which is so interesting. I guess when they arrived at the resort, James already almost got into a fight with somebody. Apparently, it was one of Brock's friends, and he's bringing it up at the dinner. He brings it up because some of them, I guess, saw this go down, Ariana being one of them. So he's kind of bringing it up to Ariana, like, yeah, that guy earlier, what the heck, you know? Apparently, this was one of Brock's friends who was already probably shit faced because they said he was drunk. I guess he went up to James and tried to give him a hug or something. Was like, hey man, I know you. And James is saying, I don't know who this guy is. And James like got aggressive with him, I guess like pushed him off of him. And they got into like an argument, like yelling at each other. And then you start to see Ariana and James getting into it because Ariana's telling him that it was like really uncomfortable and she doesn't like want to see anybody fight. She doesn't want to see anything like that happening at Scheana's wedding or whatever. And James starts to get aggressive, like back at her. Even Lala is yelling at James, telling him to shut up. Ariana flips out, like screams at him. And all I'm noticing in this moment, because Allie is sitting between James and Ariana, she looks mortified. She looks embarrassed. She looks like she doesn't want to be there. And guys, I don't think she wanted to be there because she gets up and walks away. And he's like, oh, great. Now my girlfriend's mad. And that's when it says to be continued. So, like I said, normally this would have been a pretty big moment. And we'd be like, oh, wow, I can't believe this is how we're going to pick back up on the next episode and see like what's going on with this fight and what's going on with James and Allie. And are they going to get into a fight? But it just doesn't seem that important because I'm still looking forward to all that is to come. And that is all I have for today. This was a little bit of a shorter episode than I normally do because number one, I don't have Steve with me to bounce ideas off of, but I've been a little bit under the weather. So that's why I was a little bit delayed in recording because my voice has been a bit scratchy. So we're going to keep it short tonight. That's it. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and Facebook at the Almost Daily Des and join in the conversation. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode of By Invitation Only.